Hi everyone. As promised, I am making a video to go over what Writing Project 2 is going to be like. Now, there's a lot of resources already available to you on Blackboard. There's a lot of different things that go into detail about what this project is, but I know that it can be helpful to have someone orally explain it to you and to walk you through the process. So I thought I'd make this video. First of all, let's go to Writing Projects, and then we're going to go to the tab here, Writing Project 2. This is where you will find all of the requirements for this project. To start with, we're going to be working on this weeks 3 through 5. The minimum word count is 1,250 words. The maximum word count is 1,700. And this is going to be worth 20% of your final grade. Here we have a video which, in my opinion, does a very good job of explaining what this project is. And I'm going to attempt to explain this project using other words, other expressions. It may end up sounding similar to what this video says, however, just because this video does a good job of explaining this project. Here, you're going to see the goals of the assignment. I'll let you read those on your own. As we scroll down a little bit, we get into the nitty gritty here. So let me go ahead and give you an overview of what this project is. We can call this a lens essay. Now, what a lens essay does is it finds a text and uses that text as a lens to examine, to analyze, to reach conclusions about at least one other text. Now, I use text as a term that's very broad. A text can be almost anything, anything that you can read, analyze, and understand, anything that conveys information can be a text. So, in our case, your lens text is going to be a documentary or more than one, it's your choice. And the texts that you are analyzing are going to be two images, specifically advertisements. Now, let's talk a little bit about what a lens text is. So, a lens text is something that helps you view other texts. Anything that is a lens, like, glasses have lenses in them, microscopes, telescopes, sunglasses, anything with a lens is helping you view something either better or in a different way. And that's what a lens text does. So you're going to be viewing your advertisements, you're going to be viewing these images that you select through the lens of one or both of the documentaries that we'll be watching for class. Side note, the documentaries are Killing Us Softly 4, which is about how women are presented in media, how they are often objectified and sexualized, and the effects that those things can have on women. And the other one is Tough Guys, which is about how media presents men. And it deals with toxic masculinity and unrealistic expectations that are set on men, and how those things are often directly connected to violence. So you can use one or both of those documentaries in this project. So you'll begin by watching one of those documentaries, and then using the concepts or concept in that video to help you better understand your images. Let's see. Let me think if there's anything else that I can say about that. So the goal here is to use your lens text to say something that isn't obvious about your image. The lens text is, so let's maybe think of it as a microscope. We use microscopes to view things that are very, very small. They allow us to see things that we wouldn't normally be able to see. And that's what you're going to be doing in this project. You'll be using one of these documentaries as a lens to help you see things that are going on in your images that may not be obvious at first glance. We're going to be using the lens text to dig beneath the surface of the images and figure out what those images are really doing or saying. Hopefully, those explanations make sense. I know that it is a complicated concept, but it's one that, if done right, can be very educational, very insightful, and is a can be a fun way to approach analysis. But I'm a little bit biased, obviously. I enjoy writing. I enjoy analysis. But I think it's an interesting way of writing a paper. Let's see here. You have three things here that you're going to need to do in this paper. Well, more than three things, but these are three of the biggest things. You're going to need to be arguing a thesis. Your thesis needs to be 1 to 2 sentences, and it needs to explain your overall analysis of your chosen images. In other words, make a point about how the images you've chosen relate to one or more of Kilborn's or Katz's ideas. Kilborn and Katz are the names of the people who made the documentaries. Your thesis may also forecast the main ideas that you'll be discussing in the body of your paper. So, you typically what students do in this paper is they will take a concept or concepts from the documentary and show how their images help how they illustrate that concept or how it relates to that concept. You don't have to do that, however. If you find images that you think contradict or go against what Kilborn or Katz is saying, you can also do that. I am of the opinion that it is probably easier to find images that are doing the things that Kilborn and Katz talk about rather than trying to make an argument that an image is not doing what they are saying. But it is up to you. You'll need to make sure that you describe your images, and you're going to then analyze them. And I'm going to read this here for you. You're going to discuss your images in relation to the lens video you've chosen. Analyze the visual and verbal elements and show how one image relates to the other. So, a little side note there, your images will need to be related or connected in some way. They can be from the same company, they can be selling a similar product, they can be, maybe portraying men or women in a similar way, but they need to be related. And in your project, you'll not only need to talk about how the images relate to your lens text, you'll also need to show how the images relate to each other. Be sure to give examples from the images to illustrate your main idea. Be sure to incorporate references to your lens text. So it's not enough to just be inspired by the lens text. You're going to be needing to quote from your lens text, quote or paraphrase, but I do need to see that you are able to quote from a text. So you'll be using quotes from these videos to help make your point. It's not enough to just sort of casually mention Katz or Kilborn. You have to pretty closely interact with their ideas and use the ideas to help make your point. Let's see here. There are no other required sources for this project. Your sources are going to be 1 or 2 videos, so the lens text. I recommend just doing one. This is already a fairly complicated project. I think it could be a little bit too much to manage if you try to use both documentaries. So I would aim for one documentary, and then you're going to have your two images that you're analyzing for a total of 3 sources. You are not supposed to use any other outside sources in this project. Here, I've already talked, I've been talking for a while now, so I will let you read this on your own. The one thing I will say, you need to make sure that your images are from a real company, that it's a real advertisement, and that they are clearly selling a product. If I can't look at your image and at a glance understand who is selling what, then it's probably not a good image for this project. Let's see here. You have some guidelines on who your audience is, your format and design, your evidence and documentation. I will let you read that on your own. Here's a description of the process that you'll be going through, and here is also a description of how I will be evaluating this project. Now you have a draft due Wednesday of week 5, so you do have some time. In both weeks 3 and 4, we'll be doing a lot of things to help prepare you for this project, so don't stress out about it too much. And your final draft is due Sunday of week 5. Now, in the remaining portion of this video, I want to show you some of the things that I have incorporated into the class that should help you with this project. At this point, if you don't feel like watching this whole video, this would be a good time to stop. At this point, I'm not going to be saying anything new. I am just going to be showing you things that are already available on Blackboard. So let's see here. The first thing is in week 3, task 3.3. This is where you can find the 2 documentaries. We have Killing Us Softly, and we also have Tough Guys. So that's the first thing. You're gonna want to watch those videos. You don't need to watch both, but they're both very good. They're very interesting. I've seen them both many times, so I do recommend you watch both. Let's see here. I am now going to go to week 4. Okay, and then we're going to go to task 2. This is where you're going to be doing a big chunk of your pre-writing and brainstorming for this project. You have 2 options here. You only need to do one. I recommend doing option 1. Option 1 is a lot more specific than option 2. Option 2 forces you to be a little bit more self-guided. I think option 1, if I were doing this myself, I would be doing option 1. But this is going to get you to think about the documentaries. It's going to have you look closely at the images that you've selected and begin your analysis of these images. Next, I'm going to go to task 5. Here, you're going to read and critique a student sample. So this is one example of of what this project could look like. And now I'm going to go to our student success gallery. Don't forget that this exists. This is a very helpful tool for you. Let's go to week 3. In week 3 here, we have 3 different examples of the initial image analysis. So this will give you a bit of an exposure to what other people have selected and how they have started to analyze their images. As a side note, when you are selecting your images, you cannot analyze an image that has already been analyzed by either the documentaries or by a student sample. I want you finding, we have a whole world of images out there. I need you to find something that has not already been talked about in one of our examples. In week 4 here, we have several examples of pre-writing and thesis statements. So I would take a look at those. And in week 5, we have 3 examples of what writing project 2 looks like. I strongly recommend that you read at least one of these. I do think it would be in your best interest, though, to read all of them. A big part of learning to be a good writer is by reading good examples. Now, obviously, you can't copy these people, but you can draw inspiration from what they've done. They serve as good models for how you can approach this project. All right. I think that is everything I have to say about writing project 2 for now. If you have read the instructions for writing project 2, you've done all of the activities that I've just talked about, you've read through the multiple student samples, obviously you've watched this video, and it's just still not clicking with you, feel free to contact me and I can try to help you out. But there are a lot of things available to you that should not only get you started, but ensure that you are pretty successful with this project.